Pictured? All right, everybody. How y'all doing? Good evening. We up here at True Nation with the Bible Basics. True Nation Bible Basics. We just had to adjust a little bit, and we're going over understanding grace, a principle, like a prerequisite concept of understanding what we're doing in this new covenant that we are in, under Christ. What it is that this thing is, misconceptions and the reality of such. My name is Aman, and to my left.
And I'm Ra'aya.
And we're going to cover that for you guys. So, grace. Let me start off with Mark 1:1 and maybe expound from there.
Book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 1. The beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God.
The beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shai, the Son of God. Now that word gospel, juggling words right here for a second, but that word gospel means it's good news. This is a joyous occasion. And when you read about everything that Christ went through and then the ultimate end to where we're at today, you would see and believe and know that these books and the new covenant is that gospel. It's that good news. Now, as far as grace is concerned, it's a good thing when you're appreciated, correct? It's a good thing when you have a favor. When you have favor by somebody, whether your parent favors you, a teacher favors you, you have maybe even favorite things yourself. You have favorite food, you have favorite people and such like that. Well, guess what? The gospel and grace are synonymous. Both of them, those things come greatly together. And again, it's dealing with favor. I want to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 6. Start at verse 6. The first instance of grace in the scriptures and why that grace was even showed as far as the Most High is concerned.
The book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
So at this point in time in the history of the scriptures, the Most High was grieved with mankind. He did not like mankind at all. He was disgusted and, as you see, was about to get rid of all mankind. So that's pretty much the opposite of what you would think would be good news or favor. Read on.
Verse 7, and the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Man, but look, in spite of all of that, in spite of all the things that the Most High was observing and the wickedness that all of mankind on earth at that time was going through, the Most High said, wait a minute, but I still have found grace in mine eyes towards Noah. What made Noah different to be favored, chosen, or to have grace shown unto him? It's very, very simple, It's very simple, actually. For the Most High to show grace and favor to you, you have to be walking and doing a certain type of a way in your life. You have to be keeping God's righteousness and God's commandments. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And you could start from verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So look, this is something that we attribute to Noah. Noah hearkened diligently to the voice of the Most High God, Yahweh. Otherwise, he wouldn't be mad. Think about it for yourself. Whether you have kids or whatever relationship that you may be in, that might have a power dynamic to it. When somebody else is doing what they're expected of you to do, or of themselves rather to do, that's going to keep you in a stable stasis state of mind, and that's actually going to make you happy and joyful, because you know that you can trust this person with, business matters. You know that you can trust this person with, personal matters. You know that you can trust this person even, well, that is personal matters, coming and, confiding in them. Those are the type of things that bring you, goodness and joy within yourself. That's the same way the Most High felt towards Noah, and again, towards any of us that do what he asks. Read on in that Deuteronomy.
If thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. That's
the most simple part of it too. To observe and to do all his commandments. What do we say all the time here, every Bible Basic Tuesday, or even on a history lesson? We talk about fearing God and keeping his commandments. That's how you begin to have the Most High's favor showed on you. Read on.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Mm-hmm. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
And it always comes with the stipulation. It says, if you listen to the voice of the Most High, Yahweh, and this is the book of the blessings, very short but very powerful when they are upon our people. The Most High's grace and favor for us comes with perks for us, believe it or not. If you've never heard about this before, it does come with its perks. But again, you got to walk in the right ways. You got to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's point blank and basic. Check this out. So let's go back to, let's read that Mark 1:1 again, so we can kind of get some on the point of thorough understandings.
Mark chapter 1, verse 1, the book of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. As it is written in the prophets, behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee.
So everyone under the Most High and under Christ and Christ himself was meant to give Israel and our people a second chance. Because this is what you guys need to understand. At one point in time, not too far long ago, the Most High was actually done with our people. The Most High was done with Israel. Go to the book of Hosea. Go to the book of Hosea, and I want to show you guys just one aspect of who the Most High was done with before eventually that applied to all of us, the 10 tribes. Hosea, I want to say, I'm going to get there with you too. Hosea chapter 4 and verse 15. Start from there through 17.
The book of Hosea chapter 4, verse 15. Though thou, Israel, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend. And come not ye unto Gilgal, neither go ye up to Bethaven, nor swear the Lord liveth.
So, dealing again with the book of Hosea, a lot of this is prophecy dealing with the northern kingdom. When you know that in history, they got cut off as a people. And the only thing that ever gets us cut off as a people is sin. You can read on.
Verse 16. For Israel slideth back as a backsliding heifer. Now the Lord will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone.
And that was enough for the Most High to say, I'm not dealing with you as my people at this point in time. And a lot of Israelites, Jews that they would become, were caught up on that and hung up on that for generations upon generations. They believed that those 10 tribes eventually, they would never receive what Christ was set forth to do in getting salvation. But this is part of that good news. This is part of that grace and that favor. These people are still going to come back into this new covenant. The 10 tribes of Israel, all Israel at that point, are actually going to come back into the covenant. Go to the book of Romans. Romans chapter 11 and verse 26.
Romans chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Read 27.
For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
So again, all Israel is going to get saved. Not all individual Israelites, that are not heeding the law, statutes, and commandments of God, but all Israel of the 12 tribes. Not just the Jews, not just Judah and Benjamin and Levi and the few dispersed 10 tribes that lived with them. No. At this point now, what this scripture is talking about, all Israel, wherever they may be in the earth of the 12 tribes, they are going to get saved. So long as they take heed to God's living word and his living commandments. And that spirit that's supposed to be put into us. That's the deal. That's the prerequisite. So, matter of fact, hold Nehemiah chapter 9 and verse 27. And then I'm going to have you bring that out when we bring it out. Okay. So, again, the main grace that we are focusing on, because now we know we have the basic definition of what grace is showing favorability, whether you deserved it or not. That's what the grace is that we're talking about on the basic end. But again, for Israel, we're talking about salvation. The grace, the biggest grace that Israel can have and is having is salvation. You can read that in the Nehemiah.
Nehemiah 9 and who?
9 and 27.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 27. Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them, and in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies.
So look, this is not no new thing. Christ's salvation is, as we're going to get into it, that's beyond measure. It's beyond any type of forgiveness that we have had thus far. But again, principally, he's not the first one. As we read right now in Nehemiah, the Most High gave us saviors. When you read the book of Judges, all those people, Gideon, Deborah, Gideon's sons, and I believe some of his fathers or forefather, they were all Ehud, the man that killed the Moabite. Those were all saviors for Israel, because guess what? We were in captivity by our own will, but the Most High has always shown Israel this special type of favor and grace. And that actually stems back to Abraham. And I'm going to get you guys that right now. Go to the book of Genesis, chapter 12 and verse 3. And I want to make you guys understand 12 and 3, Genesis 12 and 3. I'm going to have you guys understand how dynamic the Most High is concerning his grace, because some of his grace is predicated upon, in that moment, actual, that feeling of love. But some of his grace is actually predicated upon, I made a promise, I got to keep my promise, because that's how I keep my glory. Read that.
Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
You know what? Read up from verse 1.
Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
This is the origin of who we are, Israelites. We know Abraham is the forefather of our Israelite nation and people. No, he wasn't an Israelite in himself, in his own right, but again, the Most High made a promise to Abraham saying, because of you, because I favored you, because of your righteousness, no different than Noah, I'm going to make from you a special seed line that if anyone blesses them, they're going to be blessed. And if anyone curses them, they're going to be cursed. And in that seed of you, all the families of the earth at the end of the day are going to be blessed. That's a covenant. That's a promise. That's one of the very first, but not only, promises that the Most High made with with Abraham that affects all Israelites. Of the 12 patriarchs to all their kids and their descendants to where we're at today, we are affected by this promise. And the Most High says he's not a liar. The Most High keeps his promise. That's why when Moses, and we don't have to get that, but that's why when Moses was talking with the Most High, when the Most High was so infuriated that he wanted to actually destroy all the Israelites that came out of Egypt, Moses had to remind the Most High, remember the promise that you made to your servant and our forefather Abraham. If you were to do that, and this is Moses making the Most High remembering his words. And it's not even almost even that the Most High needs that, but that's just that's what happened. And he listened. And that show, matter of fact, we're going to actually show just how favored that Moses was as well, too. Go to Exodus 33 and verse 13, and just hold that. But that's basically, that's the reason why we're still here today, because of Moses reminding the Most High about keeping your name holy, not being found with any type of blemish or lie within yourself, because it wouldn't make any sense. It would contradict the nature of the Most High if he were to go against the own promises that he had promised himself to people. That's part of his glory. And that's part of what made even Moses himself favored by the Most High. Because it's like, oh yeah, you on the same page as me. You like my son right now. Not, literally, but like you and Yahushai, you guys are all in the same mind, the same spirit, and I like this. I'm loving this. You guys are, my counsel. Because the Most High does have counsel, with his created beings. You see that when the Most High was trying to kill Ahab. That's another story, though. You can bring that up.
Exodus chapter 30, verse 13. Now therefore, I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight.
So Moses, even at this point, so far in the game, when the Most High had seen something in him that he liked and chose him, Moses accepting that, and still later on, in the game, is still saying, Most High, if I found favor in your sight, just show me and direct me so I could walk in that. And it's already in him too. Read on.
And consider that this nation is thy people.
Yep, because of that promise that he made to Abraham. You can read on.
Continue on.
Yep.
Verse 14. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
Just read verse 17.
And the Lord said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in thy sight, and I know thee by name.
So man, on top of the nationhood grace that we receive as a people because of Abraham, the Most High has certain people that he just favors even more so, meaning that he wants to make them more holy or more close to him, within all that. That's an amazing thing. If everyone in Israel, in the faith, and in the world, hopefully coming to the faith, had that state of mind to where they at least want to try to achieve to be a friend of the Most High, we would be all right, you know. But again, not everybody wins that game. It just so happened to be at this point in time, it was, you know, that was Moses' role. And that's no different than where we're at today, modern day. Best believe that there's certain individuals here on earth that the Most High has shown and given his favor upon favor to. You know, as far as, again, we all have favor because, and I'm saying Israelites, all Israelites have favor towards the Most High regardless because of that promise to Abraham. But there's just certain people that the Most High has his eyes out on. You know, this is no different than, you know, your Davids, you know, your Davids, and again, Moses and Noah. So there's certain attributes and aspects in people that the Most High just, I want to use that. I see the potential in you. But are they going to walk in that potential like Moses? Are they going to walk in that potential like David? You know, we don't really know because we're not reading the present. We're living the present right now. So we're kind of just playing everything by ear. But best believe, if you see it in history, it's happening today and modern times as well, too. And this will be recorded in generations soon to come to pass as we are reaching eternity. And that's a lovely and crazy, beautiful thing to consider. But going back on the nationhood aspect, Israel. So look, this is what you guys understand about how the Most High must keep his promises for his own name's sake. Go to the book of Isaiah 48. Isaiah 48 in verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 48, verse 9. For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain from thee, that I cut thee not off.
So again, remember, the Most High had already cut off the northern kingdom. He's referring to, you know, that as well as the southern kingdom. He's referring to Israel in general. So again, the Most High is deferring his anger because he remembers, just like how Moses had to remind him, his promise that he made to Abraham. I cannot cut off these people despite them pissing me off right now, you know, or not even right now, but like to this day. I'm not going to do that. And this is the setup to why Christ even set up for the scene. Read on.
Verse 10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
Now, interesting thing about that, because we heard a lot about refining, trial by fire, baptism by fire. The Most High is like, okay, look, I'm not going to just completely eradicate you, but what I'm going to do is get that remnant out of you, get that real diamond out of the rough, that diamond out of the coal out of you. I'm going to burn up some stuff. I'm going to burn some of y'all up, just like I did in the wilderness, and to where only 2 adults from Egypt made it, and only all the rest of the kids happened. The Most High is like, I'm keeping my promise, that's for sure. Y'all are not going to perish as a people, but some of y'all are going to be perishing regardless. And again, that goes to cut anyone that has the doctrine, which former brother here, unfortunately, hopefully he gets it one day, thinking that literally all Israel means every individual that's a, you know, blood-born Israelite, you know, when they die in their sin and the wickedness is going to get resurrected in the kingdom. That's not what that's talking about. That's not refining gold. That's not baptism by fire. And that's not the way the Most High is going about stuff. It's just not true, you know. All Israel saved, again, is all the tribes, wherever they may be in the world. You can read on with that, Isaiah.
Verse 11. For my own sake, even for my own sake, will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory unto another.
Man, you gotta understand. You gotta understand the Most High's glory, man. The Most High's glory is on an earthly, you know, aspect of it. some would call it, selfish. But again, the Most High does whatever he please. And the Most High still loves us as his creation. But the Most High is called the Most High as a title for a reason. He's like, there's a power dynamic. You are not there. You are my sons and daughters and such like that, but you are not my equals. Understand that. I'm the Most High because I'm the Most High. I have all the power. I'll share some glory with you, but you need to give that glory back to me, and we'll reciprocate it. And understanding that you're my servant. That's how the Most High operates. That's how a God would operate regardless. That's why we serve him and worship him. Go to the book of Psalms, just to drive that point. I'm going to find it right now. Psalms 115 and verse 3.
Psalms chapter 115, verse 3. But our God is in the heavens, and he hath done whatsoever he hath pleased.
The Most High have done whatsoever he has pleased because, again, he's the power, he's the authority, he has all the glory. And part of the glory he shared with us is that grace, favor for salvation, regardless of all the BS that we've been through. Go to Romans chapter 3 and verse 22. Romans 3 and 22.
Romans chapter 3, verse 22. Even the righteousness of God, which is by faith of Jesus Christ, unto all and upon all them that believe. For there is no difference.
Read on.
For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God has set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of God. To declare, I say, at this time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of him which believeth in Jesus.
Con, that's good enough with that. So again, we have so much to be happy about, considering our former lives, on our past lives, before truly understanding what Christ is about, before truly understanding what these words and this Bible is about, before truly even understanding who our nationality is and what that entails, the covenant, being Israelites. We have a whole lot to be happy and joyous about. This gospel is good news and good word. So everyone out there should be listening to this, should definitely be giving a clap of their hands, because we can't take that away. We definitely cannot take the joy that this grace of the Most High has given us away. But with that being said, though, you actually have to, as we know, we had to do something. You have to be like Noah. You got to be like Abraham. You got to be like David. And of course, you got to be like Christ. And what did Christ do? Contrary to popular opinion out here in the world with Christianity, Christ actually did keep God's commandments, his laws, his statutes, his feast days, holy days, dress code, morality laws. He kept it all. And we got to be the same way. Go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5. And if you know, you know. Verse 17.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach man so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Now, isn't that crazy? Not crazy. Isn't that amazing? Whosoever shall do and keep God's commandments, they're going to be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So not only did you receive this favor and grace by birthright and inheritance, but now you also have received through your belief and faith in Christ because of his sacrifice, that's salvation. And when you walk and maintain going with that, guess what you're going to get? Greatness and rulership and everything above that, eternal life in the kingdom to come. That's amazing. That's an amazing thing to be proud of, to be happy with. But again, you know, Deuteronomy 28, verse 15, all the way down to 68, if thou breakest any of these laws, you know, all these curses shall come upon thee. And put it simply, at this point, the main curse you're going to be experiencing is complete separation from God eternally. You're going to be in darkness and death. And not no death that's like, I don't exist, I never existed, non-existent. No. A death like a horror, reoccurring dream, awareness, consciousness of pain, misery, depression, sadness, everything darkness and evil. That's your portion if you choose to abuse this grace, abuse this favor, or not even take heed to it. That's ultimately what happens with that. So you got to remember those things and not choose that. But let's go to Ephesians real quick, because to me, in spite of the lack of understanding in the world by Christians and such like that of grace, this is a feel-good lesson. And I hope y'all really do feel good with this too, because we need to be inspired, we need to be encouraged and exhorted, and not always told the consequence. I mean, we need to know the consequences of our bad actions, but we need to know the present benefits of doing the right thing, and of course the promises that go with them. Ephesians, we might as well just read the whole thing too, and I'll emphasize the one. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse, verse 10.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
And I'm going to emphasize the main armor attribute that he's talking about involving grace. You know, you're going to hear the rest of them too, because they're all necessary for your protection. Read on.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Man, so if you don't know what that is, when it says we're wrestling against principalities, that means we're wrestling against thoughts and ideas. And when it talks about powers, it's talking about people with these thoughts and these ideas that have the ability or the power to implement them throughout the earth. We're talking about, you know, mankind. The rulers, again, that's what they are. The powers are rulers, and the darkness being that they are not abiding by the law, statute, commandments of God. And when it says against spiritual wickedness, again, you got to judge. Principalities, thoughts, and such like that. Spiritual wickedness means everything outside of the lawfulness of God. Spiritual righteousness means everything spiritual or thought-wise within the laws of God. So those are the things that we're concerning with this, and that we need this armor for. Read on.
Verse 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
That's the one. For this lesson where we're talking about dealing with grace, this is the particular spiritual body armor that we're focusing on right now. Your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, the good word of peace. What is a better good word to hear than the Most High is giving you a chance of salvation through his grace and favor. That's what we're dealing with here when it talks about this, and again, however you may imagine it in your head with this armor, just know that these particular shoes, we're dealing with that grace. We're dealing with that favor because of the covenant. We're dealing with that favor because of whatever the Most High may see in you as a leader somewhere out here in the world today. There's something in you somewhere that the Most High needs to use for his own glory. And he'll share that glory with you. But you best believe and remember, all that glory goes back to the Most High. There's something in someone that's hearing this message right now that the Most High needs to utilize and that he has favor towards of Israel. And that's all peace, because that person is going to get that salvation. We that choose to keep walking in this faith are going to receive that salvation. And that's ultimately what brings us that peace. Knowing that, man, we were hell-bound. We were, cut off from a nation of people without hope. Ooh, let me find that as well, too. We were like that, but guess what? This grace and this favor, it's always existed with us. Go to Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 4 through 5.
Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the earth, before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Jesus Christ to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will.
The good pleasure of his will, that good gospel of peace that we're speaking on today. Predestined. If anyone believes in, what the world concepts call, destiny and such like that, we do have a destiny, and our righteous destiny is to live eternally forever. But again, there's a flip side to that, even for Israelites. If you choose to not change in the Lord, Yahweh, and Christ, you also have a destiny that it goes to death. But again, even the scriptures say, we're not going to go into those details. The scriptures go into all the details of how to go about maintaining your faith, the promises of this faith. That's what we're talking about today. All light, all righteousness. And that's what we want. And that's what we want to keep feeding our minds and our spirits and our souls, because that's what we need to meditate and dwell on. Because whatever you meditate and dwell upon is more than likely what you're going to be manifesting and actualizing in your life. That's what you're going to bring to flesh, out of the spirit into the material world, the flesh. That's why it says the kingdom of heaven is in you. Now, it has to be taught to you. It's got to be instilled in you. But when it is in you, like a seed, like a mustard seed, and you dwell upon it and you cultivate it, it's going to bloom and sprout, and you're going to be that fruitful tree at the end of the day. And then you'll be noted and written in the book of life by the Most High and his angels, saying he helped to build the kingdom of heaven that is now on earth. Speaking from a future perspective, because that's a promise. And that's all, again, predicated upon who we give glory to as well, Christ. Go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah, not 60. Chapter 53. Man, let's start from verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He have no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
So if you guys did not know, we're going to keep reading through this. This is one of the many prophecies in the Old Testament concerning Christ and concerning what Christ will be utilized for. Because again, the Most High already, from knowing way back then, which he says himself too, The Most High already knew, I got to send somebody eventually that's going to save all these people because they're doomed and destined to keep destroying themselves. The Most High even revealed that to Moses. The Most High revealed that knowledge way back then to Moses. So the Most High always was having a contingency plan in mind to preserve his promise towards the seed of Abraham existing eternally. And Yahushua is that cornerstone for us to maintain that salvation. You can read on.
He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquitted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
Talking about all the trials and tribulations that Christ would be going through because our people would be so wicked that we'd be adverse to anything that was righteous in the spirit, which is everything that Christ was. Read on.
Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. And
with his stripes, with the stripes, the abuse and the eventual sacrifice of Christ by our people, and the Most High's will, he says we are all healed. Christ was that sacrifice. The sacrifice above all sacrifices that took away sin sacrifices, that took away ceremonial sacrifices, except for the Passover. But all those ordinances of bringing these clean animals to the temple, Christ made it so much easier to just keep the rest of the laws, and then became that law himself. That's, that made everything a lot easier for us, being as how nowadays, we don't have no temple to sacrifice to. We're scattered all around the world. How are we gonna have that blood covering us if we don't have, the proper designation to bring these blood sacrifices to? That's what Christ was for. Read on.
Verse 6, all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
So that's saying, in spite of all of us turning our own way, the Lord Yahweh have laid upon him, Christ, the iniquity of us all, which is, again, that's already in the law. That's the understanding. Sometimes the Most High would have mercy on us as a people, bring a ram. But in this mercy he gave us, in this favor he gave us Yahushua. Let's go to Galatians chapter 2, verse 16 through 18. Yeah, read that real quick. Yep. Verses
16. Yeah. Galatians chapter 2, verse 16. Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ, even we have believed in Jesus Christ, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified.
So again, we're talking about all those daily ceremonial and sin sacrifices that were supposed to be brought to the temple. Those were the things, the works rather, that were not worthy enough to bring us to complete repentance. Christ, again, replaces that, and now we just got to focus on the mind and in the spirit, which is by keeping God's commandments. That's what our focus is on. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. It's not too much else to bring out, so I do want to close out with this. Ecclesiastes 12, verse
13.
Yep.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
So, with, the favor that's shown towards us, we got to make ourselves worthy of that grace and of that favor. We got to actually listen to what God instructs us to do. We can't, again, what the scriptures say, we can't abuse it. Abusing it is doing nothing with it in front of your face and still living the same way, or, two-stepping and backsliding, going back either publicly or secretly in the same sins that you were supposed to be saved from. That's how we go about living our life righteously, fearing God and keeping his commandments. And that way, we'll always have his grace and his favor as far as the promise to Abraham. So, you guys, hopefully that did it. That's going to end another Tuesday night Bible Basics on grace. Again, my name, teacher for you, Aman Allah.
And I'm Ra'ayah.
And we're going to call it quits and say good night.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.